Hi everyone, it's Thorn, and I don't have an agenda for this video. I've kind of gotten in the habit of posting about once a week that fit really nicely into my schedule, and it's been a little bit longer than that at this point, but I wanted to pop in and kind of say hi at least before the end of the year. This will probably be my last post for 2020, and I don't know, I thought it might be worthwhile to spend a little time reflecting. So this will probably get rambly, but some of y'all are into that, so cool. I really enjoy this time of year. Not because of the holidays, I actually kind of hate the holidays, but I enjoy that everybody kind of hits reset at this point. I'm a very structured, task-oriented, goal-oriented person, so New Year's really appeals to me. New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals. I love that everybody gets a new planner. That's the kind of thing I care about. I really don't give a shit about the winter solstice or about Christmas. There you go, I'm a bad pagan, everybody. It's my least favorite Sabbath, and I mean, I really love being on vacation. That's great. I really hate that everybody feels obligated to go into debt this time of year. That's right. There's some downsides, but whatever. This isn't a video of me dumping on the season. So I don't know. Obviously, this has been an unprecedented year. Blah blah blah. All of the platitudes and whatever we've had to listen to for the last year apply. But I don't know, I've definitely learned a lot about myself this year. Some things, I wish I could have found out about myself in a much simpler way. I wish it hadn't required a pandemic that killed lots of people. But I'm grateful for the knowledge nonetheless. For example, this has actually been my first depression-free year that I think I've ever had. And I think kind of previously, because I've been in therapy for a really long time and I've been on medication and I've kind of done all of that stuff. And I don't think I ever gave, I guess, the situation enough credit for how much environmental factors played in my depression. I know that sounds really obvious, but I think there are a lot of things about the way that we live that we just assume that's how it needs to be and we take for granted. And I'm figuring out that I'm actually a lot more introverted than I ever thought I was. Because the second I got out of social situations, my mental health has been excellent. Not working in an office environment, for years and years, I thought that I was just too kind of emotionally or mentally incapable of working in conventional spaces. I thought that maybe I was just bad at jobs. I mean, I've always had jobs, but I've always really desperately hated them. And it turns out that what I actually hate are work environments. My productivity is way up. My relationships with my boss and my coworkers are way better. I no longer drive to work and pass work crews on the side of the road and think I could do that. What if I just did that instead of going to my cubicle, right? Lots of kind of unhealthy things like that. So that's been really helpful. I don't think I was quite keyed in to how much social anxiety plays into my day-to-day. I think because I really like people and I'm friendly and I think I generally come off as friendly, particularly with strangers. I don't know, I think I probably don't seem as socially anxious as I really am, but I have a whole lot of social anxiety, everybody. And I didn't know it. So now I know it, because now that I'm trapped in my house, it's great. I feel a little guilty saying that, but and I'm not saying that I want that for other people. I absolutely want the pandemic to end. But I've already told my boss I'm never coming back to a work environment. And if they need to fire me, that's fine. I'll figure it out. I'm not going back. So yeah, I'm also really loving like online pagan events. I love seeing my friends at festivals, obviously, but I've always needed to schedule recovery time after festivals, and I never really understood why. I mean, I think I always knew that, you know, like I'm sensitive, right? And even people that I love, I often find very draining. Right, and that's a me thing, not a them thing. But I've really enjoyed the opportunity to work more online, and I really hope that those kinds of things continue. I also love how much more accessible pagan events are because of the fact that everybody has to be online now. There's so many things that I never would have been able to do because of financial barriers or time barriers. It's been really wonderful getting to take workshops and classes with people who I never would have even met because we live on different continents. Things like that have been really wonderful. I don't know, like moving forward, I'm also thinking about my relationship with social media and the internet. I think probably most of us are in that space right now. It's particularly wonky as an author, just because, I mean, authors, like Llewellyn authors, woo authors don't have publicists, right? Like we all have to do our own promotional work, and I think some people are better at it than others, and I'm not awesome at it. And it's not because I don't understand how it works. It's because, like, a lot of it just kind of icks me out, right? And that's not to say that it's a bad thing. Like, of course, people have to do it, but I don't know. Like, it's not something that makes me feel good about myself when I'm doing it. And I don't know, like it makes me think a lot about where I want to go as an author, what's important to me, what I want to do. And you know, one of the kind of places where that stuff really comes to a head is here on YouTube. So I know that my subscriber count has gone up pretty substantially in the last about 2 years. And I'm not sure that people realize how different YouTube used to be just a few years ago. The idea of being a content creator is a little bizarre to me. I mean, that's just kind of objectively what I am, but we never called it that, and YouTube in particular was not a place for content creation. Now so much the emphasis is on making educational videos, teaching people, building a subscriber base, monetizing videos, whatever. And when I first got on YouTube about 10 years ago, it was much more like being on LiveJournal or one of those other places where it was really more about individuals coming together and recording their lives, vlogging, making friends, sharing their lives. There used to be features where you could reply directly to other people through video and kind of chain videos across channels. You could customize your channel, right, in the same way that it was like a big deal if you put a different background on your MySpace page or whatever. You used to be able to do that with YouTube too. And now everything looks the same, and the emphasis is really on creating content that's attractive to advertisers. And I don't know if folks have really noticed, but like I don't make educational videos. If people watch my videos and learn things, that's great. And I think that's kind of inevitable when you watch anybody work through whatever their life stuff is. But like I don't make how-to videos. And it's because that's not why I got on YouTube to begin with, and it's not the kind of content I watch myself. I'm much more interested in kind of sharing my life and my practice as it happens, and that's what I want to see from other YouTubers too. But being an author, there's kind of this expectation that your social media platform is going to be kind of another way of advertising your books. And that's fine, but it gets weird. Like you see the comments kind of below my videos, and you know, like people don't want to hear me talk about my feelings on a book. They just want me to list the titles so they can go buy them, right? Like, why did you talk for 10 minutes? This could have been a 2-minute video. Well, because my objective is not to give you a book list. My objective is to talk about my experience reading the books and, you know, how I think that potentially impacts other people in our community. Like, and those are very different objectives. So I don't know. Like, I think people have very different expectations on YouTube than they did even just like 3 or 4 years ago. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it just means that my channel kind of exists in a weird space in between. I feel very old for social media a lot of the time. Yeah, I don't know. And the same thing is true on like Instagram. And I'm not saying any of this is bad, okay? You know, people make whatever choices they need to, especially as more and more people are responsible for their own incomes. You know, it's harder and harder to make a living with conventional jobs, and increasingly people don't have health care and things like that. So like hustling online is a thing that increasingly people have to do to live, and I'd never fault anybody for that. But it's weird getting on Instagram and knowing like I know exactly what kind of post I can make in order to generate a certain number of likes. And like I sit there and I make a post and I think like I know this post is only going to get like these low numbers. But this is the kind of post that I enjoy. A good example are, if you remember, for a hot second there, I was doing book reviews on Instagram, and I stopped doing them because they got no engagement. Like, they were fun posts to make, but they were the lowest shared, the lowest commented on, the lowest like they just didn't. But man, I tell you what, if I like screenshot a tweet, holy shit, like that's the thing that really draws attention. And I don't know, like it's just really discouraging. Like, it's discouraging knowing that there are certain things that I could just objectively choose to do that would generate attention. One of those things is being mean to other practitioners. Like, if you've got some kind of Twitter war going with somebody, or if you say something mean about somebody else, somewhere on the internet, like, man, that stuff gets traction. I don't know, like the most heavily circulated blog I think I ever had was the one where I talked about consent and hugging, and people got real mad, and that blog circulated, I think, because people wanted to see the awful things that folks were saying in comments. And I don't know, that just makes the internet a really discouraging place to be sometimes. And I don't want that to be my experience of the pagan community, right? Because I don't think that those things really are reflective of the pagan community. I don't know. So in the coming year, like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm going to step back from the internet, but I really want to work to not have that be such an integral part of my experience in the wider, like, witchcraft community. Just because I don't think I do it well. And I don't think it's good for most of us. So, what have you. What else? I don't know. I feel like I just like dumped a bunch of like downer stuff on you. And I don't mean any of this negatively. I'm not feeling bad. I just am, I'm sitting here journaling and kind of like reflecting on stuff, and this is what's coming up. But there's lots of things I want to accomplish in the coming year. I really want to finish this tarot correspondence course that I've been working on for literally like 9 years at this point. I'm super slow. I've got so little left to go too. Like, there's really no excuse. What else? I am writing personal statements for the next step of graduate school. And we'll see how that goes. That's very much like in the air. But I'm putting together application packets, and what the hell else? I don't know. I really can't say anything about like coven life because we have no idea what COVID is going to do, moving forward. Like, my coven leader life has sort of been put on hold. Thankfully, people are off kind of doing their own things. It's been nice having kind of the space to think and catch my breath. But I'd like to get back to that now, please. I guess that's it. I hope you all are well, and I hope that you are having a safe holiday week, and whatever you celebrate, I hope that it is a happy one.